My world would end if somebody found out that I was going to donation centers to wear the backpack I would wear at school. I hated that we had to rely on donations. I hated that we had to wait in line for groceries so they could hand it to us for free for the week, otherwise we'd have nothing to eat. I didn't want anyone at school to find out that I was poor. See, I did vlog spaghetti. Ow! Alright guys, so welcome back to my channel. This is for those who grew up feeling outcasted, feeling like they were never enough, bullied, or just the odd one out. And for me, I grew up as that poor kid. I grew up on food stamps and on donation centers. Much of my childhood was filled with like shame and embarrassment and feeling like I would never measure up to the kids around me. And I taught myself to hide my home, hide my smell, hide my family. But I'm in a much better place now. Obviously, I mean, I'm grown up. I have my own apartment now here in my dream city of New York, so I've overcome a lot since then. So I want to be open with you guys. This is who I was, this is what I carried, and this is what I'm showing you guys now so that you, if you're in the same position as I was, or in that same boat, you're not alone. So let's get into it. It's gonna be a pretty heavy video, so let's go! One of the biggest, I guess, insecurities and battles I had because of our family financial situation was that I struggled with bad breath for most of my childhood. Even if I brushed my teeth, brushed my tongue, whatever I did, for some reason I always had smelly breath. And I think it's because my dad, since we were never really able to afford like fresh, clean ingredients, whole foods, a lot of times my dad brought food from donation centers, church soup kitchens, or from food stamps. And a lot of times there are things like prepackaged meals or canned foods. I would eat those things growing up, and I don't think it was the best for like a growing boy through puberty. Ultimately, I think it affected my gut health so much that even if I brushed my teeth or brushed my tongue, bad breath never went away. So I remember, like, even in kindergarten, I was going to this church, and I remember none of the kids wanted to play with me because of my breath, and I would hear things like, oh, he's that kid with smelly breath, or like, don't hang out with him, like, he smells. And I remember, like, I would hear those things, and I'd try to act strong, but it killed me on the inside, because I just wanted friends. I just wanted to have someone to play with. And that, like, destroyed me. There was a lot of times where, because the kids didn't want to hang out with me, I didn't want to seem lonely. During lunchtime at the cafeteria, instead of eating, I would be busy playing outside. Just so I wouldn't have to face that fear of being alone. And through that trauma from church, like, it really shaped my journey through middle school and high school, because it made me shrivel in. It made me really cave into myself, and I never let anyone get too close. Because I knew if they came just even a bit close to my mouth, they would smell my breath and immediately isolate me in their heads. And there was a time in middle school in Spanish class that I really remember it. It will be engraved in my memory forever. And we were switching seats, and I had to sit next to this jock, this athlete. And I remember him saying out loud, like, he was that class clown that said whatever was on his mind. And he said, oh, I don't want to sit next to him. He smells. And he said that so loud for everyone to hear. And in that moment, I wanted to die. Like, I was already the shy kid who was so self-conscious, and for him to blast that into the rest of the class, I wanted to disappear in that moment so bad. And it doesn't get better because I also struggle with body odor. I think the same way I was eating a lot of foods that weren't good for me, it really was affecting my health. And I mean, there was always like this odor that was coming off of me. And I know it wasn't in my head, because every time I stood in a line at school or near a group of people, I would always hear somebody saying, oh, did somebody fart? Who's that musty person? Why does it smell in here? And I knew it was me because I heard that everywhere I went. And that just kept letting me know in my head that like I'm this kid that nobody wants to be near. I'm not worthy of getting close to anyone. I'm not worthy of being in someone's space. I'm not worthy enough to sit at a table with somebody. I felt ugly. I felt dirty. I felt unwanted. I felt less than everyone. And even on those days, I wanted to feel good about myself. And my mom worked so hard to buy me those like cool Aeropostale jackets all the cool kids were wearing. And even on those days, I would hear comments like, "Oh, he smells." And I would just feel like I was spraying cologne on this pile of shit that I was, just masking how ugly I was with a cool jacket, as if that's gonna solve anything. No matter what I did, I would never be normal. Guys, this is... I hope that made sense. We drink some water. Definitely need water with this, I know. Guys, this is really difficult for me to share online. Man, I hope some of you guys can relate, because man, sharing this stuff online, it's hard. Fuck. Also, it didn't help with my body odor that like all my clothes that I wore had a smell to it. My family, obviously, we couldn't like afford a big apartment, so I grew up in a very small apartment that was unventilated. Sometimes it had like moles on the corners of the wall. I'm not sure if that was like a health hazard, but like being a Korean family, we eat a lot of fermented foods that have a lot of pungent smell to it. Kimchi and soybean paste. A lot of times, because our apartment was so small, it's unventilated, that pungent smell would catch on to the clothes that I wore. And I would go to school and not only would I hear comments of like, oh, bad breath or like body odor, I would also peep kids tell me like, oh, you smell like kimchi. Like the most like basic racially like driven joke. It wasn't a joke. It was actually because I did smell like kimchi. And a lot of kids did not like that, especially grow up in the Midwest. Like, it was a very white-dominated environment. I remember, like, waking up an hour early before school to hang my shirt outside just so it wouldn't have that, like, Asian Korean smell to it. Like, I was just doing so much. So, like, of course I wanted to be like the other kids, and it seemed like all the other kids that like CEO dads and stay-at-home moms, and they had 2-story houses with a yard and a dog. And I thought in my head, if you had those things, that's what made you cool in high school. That's what allowed you to go to house parties. That's what allowed you to have a social status. So with that, I felt like even more like, oh, I'm not one of you guys. You guys are living a good life if you have a big house and a yard. And I really separated myself mentally from the rest of the kids because of my apartment and shitty furniture that my dad got from Goodwill that I didn't want anyone else to see. So I would always have a hard time of inviting people over, because I knew when I went to my friends' houses, I would see their parents' bedrooms, and they had bed frames and like cool like drawers, a desk, a Mac, and I'd be scared to bring my friends over to my apartment and see my parents' room is just a mattress on the floor and some like tacky floral print blankets that we got from Korea we still kept. And I feel like there were a couple times when I did bring a couple friends over, and I just felt this shift in their perception of me. And I felt like they kind of lost respect after seeing my apartment. The thing is, my mindset wasn't like, oh, you know what? If you can't accept me, I don't want to be your friend. It wasn't that. I just wanted their approval so bad. There's just a lot of things I was embarrassed of, I guess. And the last emotion is kind of like something I feel really guilty about, and that is like I carried a lot of hidden and quiet anger against my family. I hated that my dad made me go to the church donation centers right before back to school to get backpack to get my school supplies. Hated going to the food drop-off centers to pick up groceries for a week, and I was scared that like somebody from my school would see me in that environment. And I resented my dad for that. He only had good intentions for me. He only wanted to provide so that I would have something to write with, so that I could carry my books in a bag. But the thing is, I couldn't take it out on him because he just loved me. He just wanted to provide for me. But I just remember holding this resentment against him because I was even caught in that situation. And for me, back then, my world would end if somebody found out that I was going to donation centers to wear the backpack I would wear at school. I didn't want anyone at school to find out that I was poor. And it sounds like I'm complaining, and maybe I am. But it's also crazy as I say all these things and like looking back to those times, like, of course in the moment, it was like that was my whole world. Like, I thought those things defined who I was. I thought food stamps defined my worth. I thought having bad breath and body odor defined my worth. I thought living in a small unventilated apartment defined my worth. But the fact is, I'm here now. Somehow I made the right choices. Somehow I made the left turn, the right turns, and I got to this point where I'm out of that. And in a way, I'm proud of myself, and I'm relieved to be at this point because I did overcome that bad breath. Even though I struggled with it for most of my childhood, I researched, I fixed my diet, I fixed my gut health, and the bad breath went away. Same with my body odor. Took care of my health, and all of that went away. I started working part-time in college to help pay for my own groceries and also stop asking my parents for money to supply me. I finished college, I went to postgrad, I moved to New York City, and now I'm living here in my dream city, and I made it happen because the things that I went through in my childhood, I think really shaped the person I am today. And even though it wasn't pretty, even though at times it felt like hell, and I wanted to bury myself alive, I learned a lot. And I'm so grateful still for the lessons I did learn. It's been so depressing and dark for this part of up until now in this video, so we're gonna change the mood a little, and there's gonna be a happier ending. And you can trust that. So hold on, let me get changed. Alright guys, I am at a park now. I decided to come out just because it was feeling gloomy and everything I was talking about seemed a little bit on the darker side, but we're out, the weather's nice, and honestly, it's really fucking hot. Like, I'm sweating as I speak to this camera right now. But, yeah, I just want to kind of match the weather and talk about something a lot lighter, and it's the things that I'm really grateful for and the things I learned, growing up with the way I did. I guess one of the biggest attributes I've really, learned to garner in myself is emotional maturity. I think God has given me this soft side for a lot of people that are going through shame or insecurities and self-consciousness, because I carry the invisible shame, and I know what that looks like and I know what that feels like, so I can catch that from a mile away with somebody who's also going through the same. The lowered eyes, the hesitations, the fake smile, I know that. I've been there. And I know I'm in a lot better place than I was a kid, obviously more financial, stability. But, and I'm not gonna lie, early on, I was man, I'm so glad I'm out of that life. I'm so glad I'm out of that, frugal mindset. And I used to be well, why can't other people get out of it just like I did? Why can't people work their way out of it just like I did? And it became this, condescending, perspective, and I just hated how I felt. I felt egotistical. I felt a lot of pride in me that I just didn't like. And I think God really
gave me an understanding and kind of like brought me back to my roots. Like he made me realize like I can lose all this. Like first of all, it's not mine to begin with. The way God gave it to me, he could take it right back. And it makes me think about my roots, you know? Because I understand what it feels like to be left out. And to be honest, I don't want anyone to go through that feeling whatsoever. Because it's like an invisible pain. It's kind of like a pain that you're hurting, but you can't share it because of the embarrassment that comes with it. And I don't want anyone to be stuck in that world. And I don't want people to know that they're alone because I felt alone. And also it taught me to be more humble because I didn't grow up with that posture. I didn't grow up with that big house. I didn't grow up with those families. Like, what is there to brag about now? You know, what is there to be haughty of? What is there to be prideful of if I didn't even come from any of those big things? And yes, like I did work my way up. I did get out of that situation and I want to bring my family out of it too. But fact is, I have nothing to boast about. I'm just lucky I'm even at this point. And because I didn't grow up with any of those things, it kind of like forced me to question myself. If I'm not cool or rich or accepted, then what am I? And that kind of a mindset really drove me to look at myself in my inner self more than anything, like any external validation or materialistic things. And it made me really like find my value in who I was, my personality, my character, my humor, my flaws, my insecurities. And I learned to be really introspective. And by being introspective, I wanted to share a lot of the things I grew up with so I could share with people who are also going through the same and let them know that they're not alone, because it's a terrible thing, guys. Especially when you're growing up poor, especially when you're growing up like not accepted by others and like outcasted. It's like an invisible shame. You're going through this pain, but you're too embarrassed to talk about it because first of all, there's no one in your corner. And also it's just like you feel disgusting, you feel dirty, and you just feel not enough. So why would I think that anyone would care enough to listen? And I don't want anyone to go through what I did. So I guess my childhood in a way kind of garnered this self-expression, but also this like my ability and my desire to create a safe space for people to feel what they feel and not feel embarrassed to like share about it. And that's one of the greatest things I'm really proud of. And like even though I hated growing up, you know, with the way I did, it gave me this ability and this superpower, I like to call it, to want to create a safe space for you guys and for others that also went through the same thing as I did or are still going through the same thing. Oh my God, I am burning up right now. Let's go somewhere. Oh my God, guys. I'm just trying to sit here at this park and like really express my feelings to you guys, but it's so hard because I'm sweating. All right, guys, let's just switch locations. New York City is way too hot in the summer. I am back home. I had to take a shower and then everything was just way too hot here in New York. But just want to finish this video off and this isn't a video about me complaining or it's like the pity Olympics or anything. I still had the privilege of having a roof over my head and food to eat and amazing, like hardworking parents. And I acknowledge that. And I know there's people who have it way worse than I do. But I'm just creating this video to be a reminder that it's okay. It's okay if your past wasn't perfect. It's okay if what you're going through now isn't so picture perfect. Because quite honestly, I think we're all broken a little bit. And this world itself is broken. There's so much crime, there's so much hate, there's so much things going on. And I can't expect my life to be picture perfect when the world isn't even picture perfect. So, you're not alone. Whatever you're going through, you're not alone. I'm doing that step with you right over the screen. I know there's a little barrier between us, but just hop on back here and we'll do it together. And I know this video has been so emotionally tugging and maybe a little too much, but I just want you guys to know that this is a very safe place. I know it sounds cliche, but it really is. Because I'm stepping forward to share with you guys my vulnerabilities. And I want you to know that I'm open. So you can too. So, okay. Thanks for watching the video, guys, and I'll see you in the next.